Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I hope that you are enjoying the SUGCON as we are. Today we are going to present autonomous content operation with SitecoreAI without writing any line of code, of backend code, actually. We have built a zero code audit engine using n8n, the marketeer MCP, the Asian API. We have also used Claude. I know the title in the entrance says cursor, but yeah, we made some changes in the fly and now it is Claude. And also we have built a marketplace app that we'll be showing you in a moment. So a quick introduction. I'm Miguel Minoldo. I'm Director of Technology at Alturo. Been with Sitecore for more than 17 years now. I'm 3-time Sitecore MVP. I'm based in France, and with me I have my friend and colleague Ram.
Thanks, Miguel. So this is Ramkumar Nambhi, having more than 13 years of experience in Sitecore and 4 times MVP, working as a director of technology in Altitude as well as in digital content and experience. And I'm based in Luxembourg. So yeah, thanks, Miguel.
Okay, so a little bit of the agenda for today. We're going to start with the problem, which is basically content dev at scale. Then a bit of the solution, how we approach it, the architecture, a bit of the overview on the technology stack and the tools that we are using, n8n for the workflows, MCP, the marketer MCP, and agent API. And then Ram will be also doing kind of a comparison between n8n and the agentic workflow from Sitecore and the reason why we have chosen n8n in that case. Then a bit of the marketplace and the app that we have built for the demo today. And finally, the most interesting part that will be the demo. We are going to present 4 different scenarios that are running, basically the content operations through SitecoreAI. Of course, at the end, time for questions, hopefully, if we are on time. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, so content dev, I mean, every large organization carries content dev that is accumulating, that is increasing over the time. It can be missing components, still metadata, still SEO, outdated campaigns, broken translations. I mean, the problem is not only visibility, it's also the scale, right? And no team can manually audit thousands of pages and content, right? It takes time. It affects SEO. It affects agents. It affects basically the website visibility. So as I mentioned, right, some examples, those are not rare, they are everywhere, are very common. Missing components like blank hero banners, CTAs that go to broken links, missing metadata, missing SEO tags, OG fields that are affecting always the SEO, AO, GO, and all the EOs. Also missing translations. Sometimes we have presence in different markets and some components are not properly translated or are fall back into English, and then you end up with mixing languages in the same page, or orphaned campaign pages, or even campaigns that are outdated but are still there driving traffic that doesn't give any value. So individually it looks small, but then when you look at this in a more generic way, it's of course a lot of work to do, right? Especially if you had to do it manually, because how we were used to solve those issues before, right? Normally, the answer is a spreadsheet. It's manual work. It's audits that takes weeks, takes a lot of time. When we are ready or fix some of the issues, then the content still is again there. There is no prioritization. There is no scoring. There's no governance around it. So basically, teams need also coordinate SEO teams, data teams, developers, QAs, and so on. So we are humans, we get tired, then we start missing the patterns, and the results are not any good, right? So, and this is exactly where AI is good at, right? So what if we actually build a continuous, process that can fix all these for us? So this is what we have built. It's zero-code autonomous operations, n8n for orchestration, marketer MCP as the bridge, Claude AI as intelligence, and the agent API powering basically everything. So let's think about this audit not as a project, but more like as a continuous operation thing. A bit of the high-level architecture. You can see here super simple, very straightforward, 4 layers, no backend code at all. We have n8n that orchestrates all the workflows, MCP that connects AI with Sitecore, the marketer MCP that enables natural language actions, then the agent API that executes safely basically everything behind the scenes, and Claude that provides the reasoning behind it. So a quick deep dive on the technologies that we are presenting today and we have used to build these tools. So first, starting with n8n, which is an open source visual workflow engine. It gives a lot of developer extensibility. It came for about 500 integrations. It's basically the orchestration engine, right? So it schedules the audit, it's called the agents, it loops through the content, it triggers remediation workflows, it triggers notifications. Basically, you can think of it of like the control plane, right? And then we have MCP, but I think everyone in this room knows what MCP is. But it's always good to have a quick refresh. So MCP is the protocol that lets AI talk with the systems, right? Think of it as like the USB port for AI. It's the standard by Anthropic. And if you look at the left side, we have AI clients, Cloud Desktop, Visual Code Copilot, n8n agents, you name it. I mean, everybody's having now clients, and same thing with the servers. We have, in this example, Sitecore, MCP, GitHub, and the Slack MCP. Again, every tool nowadays is providing MCP servers as well. And then in the middle, we have the transportation layer, right? Basically standardized transport with JSON RPC, which is making this communication possible. And then we have tools. I mean, the MCP servers provide tools like allowing us to execute different functions, like create an item, update the field, publish the page, and so on. Then the resource are basically the data that AI can use, and the prompts like templates or common tasks that we can execute. More specifically on the Sitecore MCP, right? So Sitecore MCP is basically exposing all the Sitecore capabilities or functionalities to as AI tools. So you can create pages, update metadata, publish, yeah, everything you can do from the UI. You can also AI can also expose it as a tool. So, sorry, 1 second. So that allows AI not only to analyze but also to act on it, right? So a quick example here, like a natural request. Create a French landing page for a summer promo with a hero, CTA, and SEO metadata. So basically, MCP interprets intent. It selects which tool needs to use to accomplish the task, and then authenticate through OAuth, and then the API, the agent API will behind the scenes do all the different API calls to the to Sitecore. And then the last thing I would like to show you is the Sitecore agent API. It's basically the execution layer, right? That was launched by Sitecore end of last year, around November, I think. It's engine under the marketer MCP. So it exposes all, like the business level actions for AI, like as was mentioning before. So if we do a quick comparison between the traditional, right, and what is now, in traditional, back to the previous example, it means more than 5 different separate API calls. You need deep Sitecore expertise. You need to manage the error handling and everything, and probably custom authentication per system. With the agent API, it's just one business level call. There's no really CMS knowledge needed. You get in the built-in rollbacks and single OAuth as well. And something really interesting yesterday that Krishnan was sharing during the session, that the SDK for AI agents is going to be released, which means all this here can be even more extended, which is really great news. And with that, I will hand over to Ram, who will be explaining the n8n versus the agentic. workflows.
Thanks, Miguel. So what we wanted to emphasize here is like, why we would like to show an n8n is to show the power of Sitecore Agent API. So it's not like, it's you cannot use agentic workflows that is already configured in Sitecore. But, one is to add more kind of extensibility using the API. So just moving on to the slide, like, so each of these are for different reasons. So main thing about the psycho-agentic flows is mainly giving the powers to the marketers to have this whole orchestration layer built using the canvas, which is there in the psycho-agentic studio. And the scope here, I would say, is like more of the AI platform that Psycho is building out. It's going to have this powerful mechanism of psycho-agentic flows, which is going to power the marketers. But when it comes to the n8n workflow, it's like more of a orchestration layer. They are building with a lot of systems and APIs. Then coming to the triggers, I think it's pretty similar in both the systems. You have triggers based on calendar events. You have triggers based on signals. Again, in n8n, it's like webhooks, cron events, and you can also have hooks that are connected to Slack or coming from Teams. So the main differentiator I would say is like, the Psycho agentic flows is more focused towards the Psycho ecosystem. So it tries to have all the tools and connections with the Psycho ecosystem. But n8n is more focused towards having the larger ecosystem of having connectivity with different systems like CRMs, data sources, and ERP, PIM, and so on. So it has more than 500 plus nodes that you can use, and many of the vendors, they're publishing their workflows to n8n directly. So the other thing that is kind of limited right now, maybe with the n8n, is having this feature of having to use JavaScript or Python if you want to transform some information. Partial coding is possible in n8n, which at this moment is not possible with the Sideco agentic flows using the canvas. But I think with the SDK that's soon available, I think we'll have more flexibility to extend it. Then coming to the agentic API, its native workflow steps, n8n is also quite similar in that aspect. Governance is also quite similar. So I would say it's like one is to give the external connectivity, n8n, and agentic workflow, which is already built in an agentic studio and Sideco, is more for the marketers. So just moving on a bit. Yeah, so core thesis again to emphasize. Here we are showing of the power of having agentic API. I think Miguel set the stage about showing on MCP and agentic API. And the point here is like, the surface is open now. You have a broader spectrum of using AI across. So this means, you can connect with any systems, anywhere, orchestrate anything you want. That's what we want to emphasize, right? You have different systems connecting with different things. So today we just want having this open world of having different AI tools. So we need to orchestrate across. So that's the power of having this, demo that we want to show using n8n. So data again is sovereign. It doesn't mean you have to sit with Psycho ecosystem. So a couple of years back, we moved to this SaaS world and then composable architecture. The whole concept behind that was, data can be coming from anywhere, right? Any offering, not just Psycho ecosystem. So we want to emphasize again, like you're going with the agentic flows and things like that. Again, data sovereignty is important. You can have any system driving the data. Then coming to the last point, Psycho is always having this mindset, right, compared to the other SaaS offerings to have this extensibility. So we want to emphasize, like, going with the n8n or any other orchestration layer, it's extensible to the level you want to have for the customers or for for the tools that you're building. Um, so just a bit on the publishing autonomous engine, just to highlight. So we have in the demo, you'll see like we have built a marketplace app. It's made with the Psycho recommendations. Then what we publish here is just the workflows which are done in n8n, and that's kind of published and hosted. We have some configurations for the MCP that's stored within the workflows, and the configuration is very simple. We'll be sharing the GitHub repository at the end, and it takes just 30 minutes for you to configure and run and test it out in your site. We haven't made it public yet, but we'll be soon sharing this information out. On a very high level, as Miguel explained, we have 4 different pillars. It takes 4 different steps for you to configure. Just go to n8n instance. It can be cloud or self-hosted instance that you want to have. Within our GitHub repository, you already have a Docker configuration to have this as a self-hosted run that's running within your Docker instance. But if you have a cloud subscription in n8n, you can also run the workflows in the cloud. Then you have the SitecoreAI layer. It's very simple. Again, you have to create an autonomous client, automation client credential within SitecoreAI, which you'll be using to connect with different systems in n8n. And then you have this, of course, you have this cloud portal access for SitecoreAI. And Market MCP is again going to have this connectivity feature that's going to authorize and use all the different tools that is used for the Sitecore orchestration, to change the pages, to publish the contents and so on. And finally, the easiest thing that you could do, go to the repo, use our workflows in your site, just import it back into your n8n system, whether it's going to be self-hosted or on the cloud. You can just try to access them and just import it into your n8n instance. Um, a bit more on some of the workflows. It's a very high level ideas. Of course, you are having so many ideas right now. I just want to show you some of the things, what we imagine in the future, right? The boring part of content operation is going to be completely autonomous using AI. We already saw a lot of this is happening in different sessions presented by both Sitecore and others in the community. So we emphasize this more, right? The autonomous work, the boring part of work is going to be completely handled by the AI agents. So what we are thinking of is like, we can have scheduled jobs or triggers that is running, doing continuous audit of the contents using a crawling mechanism, the content tree. And then it's going to analyze against a defined set of rules. It can be a brand guidelines, it can be an instruction set, it can be a skill matrix. It's going to assess through those informations, and then it's going to log the issues that's happening within the system. It's a broader content area, like you can have for different brands, different kind of regional content, market content, local country content, and it's really hard to manage that, right? So you can have all these informations to be logged in the systems. And then finally you have the route decisions, right? So always have the humans in the loop, always have the leadership and stakeholders in the loop to make the right decisions for the contents. So always have them in the loop, and you have the route decisions and workflows implemented for that. And finally, you can have the notifications sent across for each of the changes that you're making in the content process. So pretty much the same operation that's been done today, but that's manual, and this is more autonomous. So that's what we think is going to happen. So one of the cases we'll be showing across is like, doing the SEO analysis, doing the missing field content audit, doing the content verification of the quality, like, how the content is scoring out based on a defined set of rules, how we do a cross-language translations, how we do the accessibility fixes. We'll have so many use cases where the alt text is missing, where the accessibility standard is not met within the components. All this kind of, we can do it automated. And when the changes are done, it can be logged, and the changes are staged to the Cypher platform. Either it can be autonomously published or maybe verified by a human in a workflow state. All this can be done. Emphasis again, uh, AI is our machine that works for us. Humans are the ones who are going to accept the changes or not, right? We still keep the human in the loop, which is very important. So we see this continuous changes happening based on the confidence and threshold score, and it goes through a workflow using a bit of triggers that we have. And either the human is going to give a rejection of the content if they think it's not in the right perspective the changes are. So, or they can approve the content. And every decision that is done by either by the machine, by the AI, or maybe by the humans is logged into the system, so we know what exactly is done. So it also makes sure a full rollback is possible at the later point of time. Um, the future is very simple. It's continuous governance at every point of content operations. We have zero engineering overhead, meaning like, with all this orchestration layer that we are building, whether it can be inside core ecosystem, maybe outside the Cycle ecosystem, it doesn't matter. So there's zero engineering overhead that's going to be there. I mean, it's simply orchestration layer that you're building. And then you have AI safe by design, means like, you have approval gates, decision makers as humans to accept the changes or not. You have the CMS bridge. The CMS powers with agentic API and MCP tools. This is going to be extended further a lot. I mean, with SDK coming in, with the AI skills being put into the SDK, we'll be seeing this is going to be extended a lot in the future. So then, one last advice, if you're going to orchestrate this, start small and then make it big. So when you have a starting piece that's really large, then I think it will be a bit for you to manage. So start small, work with one workflow, make sure it's completely autonomous, and then move on to another workflow. So I think we are almost at the interesting part of this session. It's a demo. So I'll pass to Miguel to show you a couple of demo cases.
Thank you, Ram. Yeah, now the interesting part. So we will be showing different use cases. I mentioned 4 different scenarios, starting with content health audit. So for that, I will be switching to SitecoreAI now, to the marketplace that we have built, and basically show you how easy it is to basically, configure and get the workflow up and running in n8n. So yeah, let me jump into it. Cool. So let me refresh. As I mentioned, we have created a marketplace app, so it's also good for the demo to show the reports and everything, but I will be also showing you how this can be running autonomously and automatically from a trigger that will send notifications without any need of the user clicking on the marketplace, right? So first case will be,
Just click on the page one more time.
Let me try this page here. So I will try with the content head of it. As you can see here, let me open it a bit. We have kind of a copy of the SUGCON website here with some content that we are going to send to the agent to analyze. So now I'm running the workflow. While this is running, it's gonna take some time. This is n8n. I was mentioning before. This is the orchestration layer, is the canvas to build workflows. This is the one I'm running at the moment. So you can see here in the webhook. So basically, this is what we are triggering from the marketplace app. But it can also run on a schedule, right? So I can say every Monday, 3 a.m., run this workflow. This will do like the analysis for the full website. And then it will send a notification to the user saying, okay, this site got analyzed, you got this report, you have here all the recommendations to fix, and so on. So as you can see, very simple enough, it's very visible. Let me do that. As you can see, first is getting the token from Sitecore, there's normalizing the input, is building the prompt, and here's the most important part, it's the agent. For that, as you can see, it's a simple prompt that we are just asking, promptly what we need to get from the analysis. And then we are just using Cloud Sonnet in that case, and the SitecoreAI MCP. So basically here, the agent will talk with the MCP and resolve which tools needs to be used here to run the audit. So yeah, seems like it's done. So here we have the result. So basically, it's show you the content completeness, some image that are missing the alt text, the content freshness that is looking not bad, and the component health as well. And then you have recommendations here, right? So replace the generic page header title with something more suitable. As you can imagine, right? So I'm using the default Sitecore template here for the article. That's why I have all this data from there. That is nothing to do with the SUGCON content we have in the website. It's also telling me that I need to populate the meta field, meta title, description, OG image, and so on, fix canonical URLs, and also a list of issues here, more detailed, and recommendations. Let me get back to the workflow so we can check that a bit more in details. When the agent is done, then it will build a report, prepare a message on Slack. So basically in Slack, as I mentioned, right, it came with a lot of different integrations. So it's very straightforward to get, for example, integration with Slack, with any other messaging system to send a message there, right? So I'm just sending a message to a specific Slack channel. If I open it, yeah, you see I got I got the reports here as well. And that makes more sense when you're running it automatically because, of course, when it's done, I will get the notification and I can start acting on it. As Ram was explaining, of course, human in the loop always, to approve the changes in Sitecore, or to update those with more proper content. So yeah, in Slack, I get the notification. As you can see, I have, for example, one page because I'm running only this venue page from Sitecore. Otherwise, I will get all the different pages I've got analyzed from the website, critical warnings, missing alt text, and also kind of a scoring for each category. So this, of course, shows you the flexibility and how easy to integrate, right? Sitecore and while using the MCP tools available with n8n. And the second scenario that I would like also to demo today. Shit. Oh, sorry for that, bear with me. Here. And the second scenario will be more like a chatbot. What is doing that? Okay, that was not expected. The second scenario, it's a chatbot, which basically the same approach. I will be showing you the native workflow. It goes through. Let me go here. Yeah. Isn't coming? So I know here.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Okay. Sorry for that. So now I'm going to show you the chatbot, right? It's kind of the same approach. So we are triggering a webhook from the marketplace app. It's prepare the prompt, same approach. It goes through the agent. It uses the MCP tools, and this gives more flexibility in the terms that I can ask anything to interact with the content I have in my page. So for that, I will show you here what we call the content intelligence, and here you can just start asking some natural language questions or use the predefined things that are coming there, right? So for example, what metadata does this page have? And this will again trigger the workflow. I will show you here executions. And as I mentioned, then it will decide which tools to use. Then it will get the response, just a quick example to show how it looks. Is the result, it returns with the webhook, and then I get this in my marketplace app. That is basically telling me the metadata for the page with the different fields, the values, and so on. And you can imagine, right? So you can ask any question. So it gives more like kind of flexibility. And yeah, the main idea here again is to show how easy to integrate, to extend from there. So with that, I will hand over to Ram for the next two different scenarios.
Thanks, Miguel. Not going to switch to the
Yeah, don't do that.
The last couple of things we wanted to show you is like, the SEO auto remediation, which is similar to the previous content operation audit that you saw, but it's more focused towards the SEO. I'm going to click on the analyze page and then go back to the workflow so we can see quickly what the workflow does. That's on this one. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think it's clear. So before moving on, right? So when we started, there were limited number of MCP tools, and connecting the MCP with the agent was not that straightforward. And I don't have the previous workflow in place, right? The previous workflow was really a long, huge one because we were using different endpoints, different APIs, a mix of both agentic API and also using the GraphQL or authoring endpoint to fetch the contents and doing the changes. But then once we have the relevant tools in MCP, we just plug this into the SEO agent analysis and the workflow completely changed. It was just, few different steps compared to it was large levels of steps that we had to do before. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing so many steps and just going across. I would never recommend doing that. I mean, I tried it, so please don't. And now trying to use the Psycho MCP as a client attached to the agent, it's a lot more simplified. And another important thing that we realized is like, when you use the orchestration layer built on API, the level of content improvement and audit is different from actually giving the tools to the agent itself. So when we connect the tools directly with the agent, the level of content audit and things that the agent was doing was, of course, so much better compared to how it was done through orchestration that we built around the API. So we saw a lot of difference there. So going back to the executions, so the execution got completed. So just like the previous couple of workflows that we showed, we have the SEO analysis agent where we have a set of predefined prompts that is going to do a set of analysis for the SEO. And then we have Sone, which is our LLM that's going to do the whole intelligence perspective. And then we have MCP tools attached here that's going to do the processing of things within Sidecore.
Probably if you click on the NCP to see which tools were involved,
sure.
it's also interesting. Yeah.
So here, I think that's going on to the tools. I'm not able to select over here, but it uses a wide ranges of tools. It's going to get back the content from Sitecore, do the analysis. So basically, it's going to do the for the page ID, it's going to use the locale that we get from the webhook, and then it's going to use the get page HTML. This again is a MCP tool that's available and it's going to get the HTML of the whole page. And that's what we process for the SEO analysis and pass it on to Claude Sonnet to get the SEO scoring. And quickly going over here, I think you'll see the analysis and you also see the AI generated suggestion that you can either apply or, if you don't think it's relevant, you can also regenerate one more time. So once you apply, it's going to create a new version, nothing magical here. Then going quickly to the SEO, the cross-language translations. So we have configured several different locales here to show you how the translation works. So currently we are in the English language was a version of the page. So we can quickly click on the translate content. Again, this is not something magical. It's pre-built in SitecoreAI. We just want to demonstrate using n8n so that we can see the power of agentic API, right? So again, when you're building own translation systems that you think it's going to have wide range of locales or more kind of brand guidelines based off translation, then I think this orchestration can be very useful for you. So once the translation is completed, maybe I can switch over to different locale and show you. But before that, let's switch to the workflow part. So going to the language translations part here. So different stages, again, was a lot more simplified with the MCP tools directly attached to the translation agent. It has a set of translation instructions here. It's basically going to get the content. It's going to get the source language. It's going to get the target language. It's going to have a set of defined instructions of how to translate the content and then give back the response. So that's how simple it is. So once the translation is done, I think it's going to create a new version of the local. I think it's still being run. Let's go to the executions. So yeah, as it's running, just moving on here. Um, uh, with Claude, I think the translation is not limited to certain locales. You can just try to configure how many ever you want. To keep it consistent, I think you can have some guidelines defined within the prompt so that it gives consistent results back. It's running for a quite long time.
Probably running out of tokens. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you have enough credits in your Claude to have the things running properly. Yeah, I think
This is
so.
exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the amount of tokens per minute.
Again, the good thing about using MCP is like it's very consistent with the information it's getting from Sitecore. But the worst thing is like when you're out of credits in your Claude, it's not the best, because what we saw is like, it uses MCP whenever it wants to fetch more relevant information. This could be just one call, it could be multiple different calls, it could be one different data that's being passed, or it can compile a bunch of data. It's going to be tokens that's going to be consumed. We saw in one case is like it used like 5,000 tokens, and in another case we saw close to 70,000 tokens in a minute. So we don't have so many credits in the Claude for the moment. So I think that's the reason why it didn't translate. But again, to have the relevant context, of course, you have to use MCP tools.
Yeah, I think that the most important part here, as Ram was mentioning, right? When we started something similar last year before the MCP, it was a lot of nodes in the workflow. There was a lot of customizations, playing with the GraphQL, playing with the APIs and everything, right? And also mapping the fields and everything. Now it's basically agentic. You configure, you put the prompt there, and then it basically does the whole thing. It chooses the tools and everything.
Yeah, true.
And you can see that is not fake because it's fading, right? So that's the good part of the demo as well.
So moving over to the deck. So as we finish with the demo, I think you would have enjoyed this one. Of course, not everything worked, and demo's demo. So you want to see how the real use cases are also working. So the transformation of content is actually a manual burden as usual, right? So we wanted to emphasize in the session how the autonomous and individual system can automate all this for you with AI systems. So I think you would have enjoyed this. As a last slide, before the question starts, just wanted to show you where the GitHub repository resides. It's up, of course, made public very soon. Once we are done with few last minute changes that we wanted to push into, and the MCP again is on the developer.sitecore.com. And another credit to Christian and the team doing the SDK for the agentic API, and also doing SDK for AI skills, which is really interesting. I wanted to give a try once it's available. So make sure you just check developer.psycho.com for more information coming out. So it's going to be a huge thing if you have those agent skills and SDK. n8n docs, it's not something that's out of something, but you can quickly check the documents. You have number of orchestration layer workflows already published by different people. You can try to reuse them or try to use our repository, pull in the workflows, and then upload it into your n8n instance. You can reach out for any questions at any point of time in our LinkedIn. We are happy to answer you back. So please drop a message whenever you have something. Yeah, please. If you have any questions now.
I'm like one fresh. I can ask just. Uh, you were saying that site. Hello, it was really nice presentation, and I really enjoyed it. Question: if, for instance, on Sitecore 10, I know that you guys saying that there are lots of challenges here to replicate the same process. However, what the main challenges are? For instance, if we want to implement this for Sitecore 10, because lots of clients here still using Sitecore 10. So what's your way of thinking? What type of APIs you need to call, and so on?
I can start this answer. So I think it's basically how I described before. Psycho 10 has everything built in. It has GraphQL, it has the content API, it has whatever we used to have before. It's still bundled into the Psycho 10. What is missing in the Psycho 10, which is not there in the at this moment, is basically the agentic layer, which we have in the Psycho AI. So basically, if you're going to orchestrate using n8n or with a different tool, you probably have to use the API, but all other steps which I showed you before is going to be quite similar. So in simple answer, I think you have to use the API layer in Cypher 10 to orchestrate.
Yeah, probably more of work with webhooks and everything, because marketplace won't be there as well, right? So it's, yeah, you can achieve something similar, but as Ram mentioned, it's gonna be a bit more complicated. Yeah.
Is there the ability to find and replace with content? Like my client has the issue where they use facts across kind of hundreds of web pages, and currently you would need to audit them manually and update everyone manually. So if you could do that within this, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that's possible, and that's, I think we try to demo this as well. So basically, as we mentioned, right, normally when the webhook returns all the recommendations, it will create a new version of the item. So it's not overriding anything, because of course we still need human in the loop to validate the results, and then yeah, basically you're gonna automatically update all the content in Sitecore, create a new version, and then it's just a matter of approving and publishing the changes.
Yeah, true. I mean, just for the demo purpose, we showed you how it's triggered based on a page. But in real time, it's like a scheduled job that's going to run once per day, once per week. You can configure that. You're going to get this information to your email, or going to get this across your Slack or Teams. And then you, as a marketer, your content author, your stakeholder, you're going to decide what action you're going to take, and then just reply back to the agent, and it's going to do the action for you. So that's what we imagine, and we are building that system. But just for the demo, we just showcase just how we can take a per page.
Thank you very much for that. I started looking into n8n myself, but in your experience, how does that compare to Agentic Studio agent workflow? Because it looks very similar. So have you played with it? Have you compared them? Have you drawn conclusion on that?
Yeah, I think Ram covered this during the presentation. He tried to kind of compare the both, and the reason why we have chosen n8n. In that case, we are just going with n8n because we think it's also good to demo here how we can extend externally, right? Where Agentic Studio is more, let's say, inside the Sitecore ecosystem, right? But yeah, I don't know, Ram, if you want to add
Yeah, I
something
think
on that.
they're very similar in terms of having the canvas and orchestration layers. Very similar, right? One is completely built into the SitecoreAI, which gives like a studio feel for the marketers. They can do anything. The only differentiator here is like n8n has a bundle workflows and different types of nodes that are currently missing in Sitecore Agentic Flow in the canvas. But I think in the future we'll also start having those things. And another little piece I see as a difference is like the transformation part, the data you would like to transform is so far limited in agentic flow. Here you can use TypeScript, JavaScript to transform the information and do a bit of more extension in n8n. So that's a difference. I think the gap is soon closing. I think both will be in a similar power. Yeah.
It evolves also your workflow in a with AI to you or DQ or special you. So should we honestly answer to this?
Both. I mean, I think AI did the presentation and the workflows and everything. It's just, nah, I'm joking. It's a bit of both. We did a bit of by coding for the workflows, and then we manually kind of, yeah, improve it a little bit. But yeah.
Thanks a lot for your
Yeah.
time here.
Thank you.